Hi everyone, I'm Jack, and welcome to Talk Ada. I'm so excited that you're here today.
Hello, I'm Ada, and together with Jack, we're here to help you learn English through real conversations you can understand and use every day.
Today, you are going to learn how to talk about yourself in French.
Yes, we're going to show you how to talk about yourself in French, step by step. Whether you're a complete beginner or just want to practice, this conversation guide will help you greet someone, introduce your name, say where you're from, talk about your job or studies, hobbies, age, and even end a conversation politely.
Yes, and if this is your first time visiting this channel, please give us a subscribe and like this video.
Yes, please subscribe and like our video. It really helps us make more practical English lessons for you. Thank you.
So relax, grab a notebook, get ready, and repeat the phrases out loud. It really helps. Let's start today's conversation.
Hey, Jack, it's so nice to sit down and do this together. Today feels exciting because we're not just chatting, we're helping people learn how to talk about themselves in French. Don't worry, everyone watching. We'll take it slow, explain everything clearly, and keep it fun.
Hi, Ada. I'm really happy to be here too. I love languages, and French is such a beautiful one. Even if you're a total beginner, this conversation will help you feel more confident. We'll start in English, then gently step into French, like dipping your toes into water.
To start a conversation in French, begin with a greeting. A common greeting is bonjour, which means hello or good day in English. You can use this greeting in the morning or afternoon. So if I meet you, I would say, Bonjour, Jacques.
Yes, and if you're talking to someone more casually, like a friend, you can use salut, which is like saying hi in English. So I could say, Salut, Ada, and it already feels relaxed and friendly.
After greeting, it's natural to ask how someone is doing. The phrase ça va is very common. It literally means how's it going, but you can translate it simply as how are you? So I can say, Bonjour, Jacques, ça va?
And the answer can be very short. If I'm fine, I can reply, Ça va, merci, which means I'm fine, thank you. You don't need to add more unless you want to. It's polite and clear.
Another thing to notice is how you respond to thanks. If someone says merci for a small favor or greeting, the polite reply is de rien, which is you're welcome. You could also say avec plaisir, which means with pleasure, which is a warmer response.
Exactly. So right now, we already have a small set of phrases that can start a conversation naturally in French. Bonjour, salut, ça va, merci, and de rien. You can mix them depending on the situation.
It's also good to remember that French people really value greetings, so even a short bonjour makes a big difference. Politeness matters in French culture.
Another casual addition is bientôt, which means see you soon, or au revoir, which is the standard goodbye. You can use these to end a conversation politely.
So before we go further, we have a solid foundation. Greet someone with bonjour or salut, ask ça va, respond with ça va, merci, and use merci/de rien when appropriate. Then you can finish the chat with au revoir or à bientôt.
And this is exactly how you start feeling comfortable with French conversations. From here, we can naturally move into introducing ourselves, like saying our names and talking about who we are.
So, let's talk about how to introduce yourself in French. To present yourself in French, start with a greeting like bonjour or salut, then state your name using je m'appelle. This phrase literally means I call myself, but in English we say my name is. For example, I would say je m'appelle Ada to introduce myself.
And I would say je m'appelle Jack. The great thing about je m'appelle is that it works for everyone. You just change the name. It's simple, polite, and easy to remember.
After you say your name, it's polite to respond to the other person's introduction. A common phrase is enchanté if you're a man, or enchantée if you're a woman. This means nice to meet you. So I could say, enchanté, Jacques.
Right. And I would reply, enchanté, Ada. This adds warmth to your introduction. Using enchanté shows that you're friendly and polite, which is very important in French conversations.
Another useful question is et toi, which means and you. You use it when you want the other person to share their name back. For example, after I say je m'appelle Ada, I can ask et toi to prompt the other person to introduce themselves.
For formal situations, you can use a vous instead. Vous is polite and used with adults, teachers, or anyone you don't know well. But for friends, et toi is perfect.
So, a smooth mini conversation would go like this. Bonjour, je m'appelle Ada. Et toi? Hello, my name is Ada. And you? Then the other person answers, je m'appelle Jacques. Enchanté. My name is Jack. Nice to meet you.
Exactly. And one more tip. When saying je m'appelle, try to pronounce it as je m'appelle. Don't worry if it's not perfect. French people appreciate the effort.
Also, after introductions, people often ask where you're from. This naturally flows from saying your name and is another key part of talking about yourself in French.
Yes, and it's a good bridge to the next step in the conversation. You're building a real interaction, not just memorizing phrases.
So, let's explain how to talk about where you're from in French. After introducing yourself, a natural next step is to say where you're from. In French, you use the phrase je viens de, which literally means I come from, but in English, we say I am from. For example, I would say je viens du Nigeria to tell someone my country.
And I would say je viens du Canada. Notice that de changes depending on the country. For masculine countries like Canada, it's du. And for feminine countries like France, it's de la France. For plural countries, you say des, like des États-Unis.
Another way to ask someone's origin is tu viens d'où, which means where are you from? This is informal and friendly. You can use it with friends or people your age.
For a more formal version, you can say vous venez d'où. The meaning is the same, but it's polite and respectful for adults or people you don't know well.
So a mini conversation would go like this. Tu viens d'où, Jacques? Where are you from, Jacques? And I would answer, je viens du Nigeria. Et toi? I am from Nigeria. And you?
Then I reply, je viens du Canada. That keeps the conversation flowing naturally. You can also add the city if you want to give more detail. Je viens de Toronto or je viens de Lagos.
Exactly. And you can react politely to someone else's answer. For example, after Jacques says he's from Canada, I could say, c'est intéressant, which means that's interesting, or ah, d'accord, which is like saying, oh, I see.
These little expressions make your French sound more natural. They show that you are listening and engaged in the conversation.
So at this stage, you can greet someone, introduce your name, and say where you're from. That's already a lot of useful phrases for beginners.
Next, we could learn how to talk about your job or studies. That's another common question when people get to know each other.
All right, explain how to talk about what you do in French. Once you've said your name and where you're from, the next step in introducing yourself is talking about what you do. This could mean your job, your studies, or even your hobbies. In French, a common question is qu'est-ce que tu fais? Which means what do you do?
Right. Qu'est-ce que tu fais is informal, friendly, and used with people your age or friends. The formal version is qu'est-ce que vous faites, which you can use with adults or in polite situations.
To answer, use je suis, which means I am. For example, if you're a student, you can say je suis étudiante if you're female, or je suis étudiant if you're male.
And if you have a job, you can say je suis ingénieur. I am an engineer. Or je suis professeur. I am a teacher. It's simple and easy to change the profession as needed.
You can also describe your work in a bit more detail. For example, je travaille dans la technologie means I work in technology, or je travaille comme infirmière, meaning I work as a nurse.
After answering, it's polite to turn the question back to the other person. Use et toi for informal situations or et vous for formal ones. This keeps the conversation balanced.
So, a smooth example conversation would go like this. Qu'est-ce que tu fais, Jacques? What do you do, Jacques? And I would answer, Je suis étudiante. Et toi? I am a student. And you?
I would reply, Je suis ingénieur. Short, clear, and very natural in French conversation. You don't need long sentences unless you want to add details.
Exactly. And notice how we're using je suis repeatedly. It's one of the most useful phrases when talking about yourself because you'll use it for jobs, studies, and even descriptions later on.
After this, a natural next step is to talk about what you like or your hobbies. That adds personality to your conversation and makes it more engaging.
All right, let's explain how to talk about likes and hobbies in French. Now that we've talked about jobs and studies, the next step is sharing what you like or your hobbies. This is fun because it shows a bit of your personality. In French, the key phrase is j'aime, which means I like.
Right. J'aime comes from the verb aimer, which can mean to like or to love depending on context. For example, if I say j'aime la musique, it means I like music.
And I could say j'aime lire et voyager, which means I like to read and travel. After j'aime, you can use a noun like la musique or a verb in its infinitive form like lire or voyager.
If you want to say something you don't like, you use je n'aime pas. For example, je n'aime pas le café means I don't like coffee. Notice how ne pas is used to make the negative.
A common follow-up question is qu'est-ce que tu aimes, which means what do you like? This keeps the conversation flowing and gives you a chance to share your hobbies.
So, for example, if you ask me, qu'est-ce que tu aimes, Jacques? I could answer, j'aime le sport et la musique. Then you can react naturally with moi aussi, which means me too.
Exactly. And small comments like c'est intéressant, that's interesting, or ah, d'accord, oh, I see, make your conversation feel more lively and friendly.
So now, after greetings, introductions, where you're from, and your job, adding hobbies makes your conversation much more personal and engaging.
You can even combine sentences to sound more natural. For after sharing hobbies, it's common for people to talk about simple personal details like age. In French, to say your age, you use j'ai un, which literally means I have years. But in English, we say I am years old.
For example, I could say j'ai 25 ans, which means I am 25 years old. Notice that in French, you always use the verb avoir, to have, instead of être, to be.
And I could say j'ai 18 ans. I am 18 years old. It's a very simple and polite way to share your age.
To ask someone's age, you can say quel âge as-tu? How old are you? This is informal. For formal situations, you can ask quel âge avez-vous?
You can also share where you live using j'habite à, which means I live in. For example, j'habite à Lagos or j'habite à Paris.
And you can combine these personal details for smoother sentences. For example, j'ai 25 ans et j'habite à Toronto. I am 25 years old and I live in Toronto.
These simple sentences give a lot of information about yourself without being complicated. They are very useful in casual conversations or when meeting new people.
After age and place of living, the next natural step is to respond politely and learn how to end a conversation. That's important in French culture.
All right, let's talk about where we explain polite responses and ending conversations in French. Once you've shared your name, where you're from, your job, hobbies, and age, it's important to know how to respond politely and end a conversation. A common way to thank someone is merci beaucoup, which means thank you very much.
And when someone says merci to you, a standard reply is de rien, meaning you're welcome. Another polite and warmer option is avec plaisir, which translates to with pleasure.
To end a conversation, a classic phrase is au revoir, which simply means goodbye. It's polite and works in almost every situation. For a casual goodbye, you can use salut, which is like bye.
Another friendly way to close is à bientôt, meaning see you soon. Or if you know you'll meet the person the next day, à demain, meaning see you tomorrow. Small additions like this make your French sound natural and kind.
You can also wish someone well when leaving. For example, bonne journée means have a good day, and bonne soirée means have a good evening.
And a very warm option is prenez soin de vous, meaning take care of yourself. Using polite and friendly endings shows respect and leaves a good impression.
So a complete ending could be merci pour la conversation, Jacques. Thank you for the conversation, Jack.
And the reply, avec plaisir, Ada. À bientôt, bonne journée. With pleasure, Ada. See you soon. Have a good day.
These simple phrases make your French conversations feel complete. Politeness and small reactions like c'est sympa or ah, d'accord also add warmth.
Next, we can put everything together in one flowing conversation, from greeting to goodbye, so viewers can see how it all works naturally.
Okay, let's continue to where we do the full example conversation in French with English explanations. Now we're going to put everything together in one full example conversation. This will show how to introduce yourself, talk about where you're from, your job or studies, hobbies, age, and then end the conversation politely. Think of this as a step-by-step guide you can follow.
Exactly. We'll go slowly and explain each part. So to start a conversation, you greet someone. I would say, Bonjour, Ada, ça va? Hello, Ada, how are you?
And I reply, Ça va, merci, Jacques. Et toi? I'm fine, thank you, Jack. And you? This is a simple and friendly way to begin any conversation.
Then I introduce myself. Je m'appelle Jacques. Et toi? My name is Jack. And you?
Je m'appelle Ada. Enchantée. My name is Ada. Nice to meet you. Using enchanté shows politeness and warmth.
Next, we naturally ask about where the other person is from. Tu viens d'où, Ada? Where are you from, Ada?
Je viens du Nigeria. Et toi? I am from Nigeria. And you?
Je viens du Canada. Je suis ingénieur. Et toi? I am from Canada. I'm an engineer. And you?
Je suis étudiante. J'aime lire et apprendre le français. Et toi? I am a student. I like to read and learn French. And you?
J'aime la musique et le sport. C'est intéressant. I like music and sports. That's interesting. Notice how small reactions like c'est intéressant make the conversation feel natural.
We can also include age and where we live. J'ai 18 ans et j'habite à Lagos. I am 18 years old and I live in Lagos.
And I could say, j'ai 25 ans et j'habite à Toronto. I am 25 years old and I live in Toronto.
Finally, we end the conversation politely. Merci pour la conversation, Jacques. Thank you for the conversation, Jack.
Avec plaisir, Ada. À bientôt. Bonne journée. With pleasure, Ada. See you soon. Have a good day.
Small phrases like à bientôt or bonne journée leave a polite and friendly impression. So there you have it. From greeting to introducing yourself, talking about where you're from, your job or studies, hobbies, age, and ending politely, you now have a full beginner's conversation in French.
If you practice this regularly, you'll start to feel confident speaking about yourself in French in real life. And it's not just about memorizing words, it's about building a conversation naturally.
And before we wrap up, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel for more French tips, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss our next language adventure.
Here's a hook for you. Imagine walking into a French cafe and confidently introducing yourself like this. People will be impressed and you'll feel amazing.
Yes, practice saying these phrases out loud. Try them with a friend, and soon speaking about yourself in French will feel completely natural.
Merci et à bientôt, everyone.
À bientôt. Keep practicing and enjoy your French journey.